Hey guys, welcome back to Vikings First and SKOL. This is your girl Sal Spice here with another episode of Skoldiers and Spice. Well, what an exciting week we have here. We got our boy Sam Darnold with his second NFC Player of the Week award, his first since September when he was also NFC Player of the Month. How about that? We've got the Vikings going into a Monday night performance against the Bears. I don't know why we always have to play the Bears on Monday night, but we're going to talk a little bit about that. We've got a big game tonight on Thursday Night Football between the Rams and the 49ers that could have some playoff implications for the Vikings. And on top of that, it's girls' night here on Skoldiers and Spice yet again. And I've got my girl Cora here. We are going to chat about all of these topics and whatever else might come to our mind tonight. So let's get into it, guys. Cora, hey girl.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you tonight?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. Kids are gone and it's just me, so
I
very
know. I was so excited. I had a guy that I've done a couple like NFC North podcasts before was going to do the show tonight. He's a Bears guy, and I hadn't heard from him, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird." And then I went and looked at his Twitter, and he hadn't tweeted in like a week and a half. And now I'm like, God, I hope he's okay. But anyway, I'm so happy that you're here. I mean, I'd rather have you here, to be honest. So it worked out.
so excited. Very excited. Yeah, thank goodness Dan was on Twitter because I was off all day.
Yeah. Well, for those who don't know, Dan is your husband, but I've been wanting to have you on, of course, for a long time, but I keep telling myself, well, we should do it in person because I've only done, I guess, has it only been 2 in-person episodes I've done?
I feel like
But
we've only ever seen 2.
yeah, I have a whole setup for another person because the whole concept was I want to have people come in person because it's just more like casual and chill and you kind of vibe and it's just like it's more relaxed, so like more stuff comes out. But I haven't actually done many, as I said. So I've been saving you for that. But then it's like, well, I can still have you do that. So
I can do both.
Exactly. But we already have some hype
Edmund, I will say, Edmund, Dan is the only DMs I get are for people wanting to talk to Dan. So it's funny that you asked Dan if he can play COD with you because that's all I get.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. Wow. I think he's joking. He doesn't want to play COD right now. But I was gonna say, we already have some hype men in the chat because we got Q-Man here saying 11-2 SKOL. Hey, Sal and Cora are the best dang team in the league. So, I mean, if we're starting out that strong, I think it's going to be a fun night.
There is no lie there, so.
No, but yeah, thank you guys all for tuning in. We got a lot to talk about, of course. I mean, the Vikings have just there's nonstop good things to talk about here. But you know, we've got our Ginger Jesus quarterback here. He's all lit up. And did you send any prayers to him this week, or he didn't even need prayers?
Honestly, this week it was either going to be that we just blew it out, or it's either going to be Kirk Cousins won or Kirk Cousins lost. So I didn't honestly think that Sam Darnold was going to have like an amazing game. I think it was just going to be an average game. So I didn't send him any prayers, unfortunately.
Well, you didn't need them.
I should have. Right?
No, you didn't need to send me, obviously, because he did just fine without them. I didn't send him any prayers either. Edmund and I both forgot that he was even with us at the tailgate. He stayed in the car the whole time. So he will
remain for every game.
Yeah, he didn't even need to be out. He just did that all on his own. So it's very impressive.
I would just like to say that I am so glad that Sam Darnold is having his like resurgence of his career, because you always hate to see when like a first round draft pick just fails and just stinks. Like I just hate it. Even like whatever. But it's really nice that he eventually is finally like showing everyone who he is. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
even better that it's on the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean that's I think that's the best part of the season for sure. I mean, I know everyone loves a redemption story, of course, but it just I don't feel like it could happen to like a more deserving guy. I mean, bonus points because he's a ginger, obviously, but
Obviously.
you hate when you see these guys drafted so high, as the Chicago Bears are famous for doing, drafting
Yeah.
these guys in the top 10, going out of their way to get them and then not, investing the resources or giving them the patience or the tools to be successful. It sucks. It sucks to see, and I'm glad that Sam is being given an opportunity to right those wrongs.
I know. I mean, even when we signed him, he was like the joke, because they were all like, oh, he's seeing ghosts and all these things. And I felt really bad. And I listened to one podcast that like convinced me that he's going to be at least a good quarterback. And it was the Locked On Vikings podcast. And they were talking about the reasons why he was a first round draft pick. And like Luke even went back so far as like when he was in high school. And I was like, you know what? He's going to be great. He's going to be good. I believe in him. With KOC, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, how can you go wrong? And he can't.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I know that Edmund for sure was on from the jump from February was like, oh yeah, he's gonna be great. But other than him and maybe like you just said Luke Braun, I'm assuming you meant Luke said that.
Oh, yep, Luke Braun. I don't think
Was
I don't think his podcast was meant to convince people that he was going to be good. I think I
Mhm.
just heard what he said and just ran with it
Yeah.
because I brought it up when he was on the Three Blind Vikes podcast and he's like, yeah, no, that was just to make people feel a little bit better that the Vikings
Oh,
signed him. So with that, but I'm very glad that it's such a surprise, a
mhm.
delightful surprise.
Yes. Well, we're getting lots of mentions of Bo Nix in the chat, which we can talk about him in a little bit. We don't want to steal we don't want to take away Sam's flowers too early, but people are very curious to talk about your thoughts on Bo Nix.
Oh man.
Um, but yeah, I mean, going back to the game on Tuesday, it's like usually by Thursday I like to move on to the next week. We gotta put that behind us and get on with it. But I don't think I'm really ever gonna get over what happened on Sunday. It was just such a storybook game. I couldn't have imagined or dreamed up a better day. Not only for Sam Darnold, but for myself personally.
And then like on
And
top of it, it was like Jets got his chance to shine and Addison's still making plays. And I mean, when was the last time Justin Jefferson had scored like a touchdown or had such big
Mhm,
plays? And I
mhm.
just feel like it's really when they all came together. And it wasn't like, yes, the defense struggled in the beginning, well, really up until the fourth quarter. So I guess what should I be saying that they came together? But like, I feel like the end of the game was like a team win. They dominated on defense, they dominated on offense, and like Will Reichert missed a field goal, and we are like, "Don't worry, man, we're not gonna let you kick another one. We got you." And they just like
Yeah.
went off.
It was a very well-rounded game. It felt like everything it was just even keeled. I mean, obviously towards the end there in the fourth quarter is when they put the game away, but that was another thing they did. They finally put a team away, which everyone has been very upset about for a month
Put a
and a
team
half.
away and demolished them.
Yes.
Like, didn't just beat them nicely. They doubled their score.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't have asked. I thought they were going to win, but I didn't think that it was going to be that beautiful by any means. And just so great to see, Kirk Cousins. We don't need to talk about him anymore after this week. He'll
I
be done.
know.
Well, as long as hopefully they don't play them in the playoffs, not because I'm worried about them playing or anything, just because it's boring. It's done at this point, and I'd much rather go to Tampa Bay or something. It's a better road trip for me
Well,
personally.
and it would be quite the duo of like just the optics of the NFL. So script writers,
Mm-hmm.
Vikings against Tampa Bay with Baker and Sam Darnold, who both are
Yeah.
not on the teams that drafted them.
Yes. I know.
And both
I
are
know.
kind of having to come back.
Right. Yeah, I know. What a great storyline that will be. Those two meeting up, two guys who basically were just tossed out and that everybody thought were just washed up. I think Sam way more so than Baker, but still a similar story with him. I mean, I for sure thought that when Kevin Stefanski got over there that he would, get the best out of Baker, and who knows what's really going on behind the scenes there in Cleveland. It seems like it's very messy and maybe Kevin doesn't have the full reins on what's really going down over there. But yeah, it's great to see Baker having this story last year where he was in Sam's position, and if they could meet up, that would be pretty cool.
And then we would win and demolish them and set it straight.
Yes, 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 exactly. But let's say what's up to the chat. We've got a lot of chatty Cathys in here. So I already said what's up to Q Man. Julian is here. We've got Chevy Chase is here. Hey, hey. I know that I saw JB is here.
Yep, JB is here.
Hey, JB. JB is your co-host for Three
Yes.
Blind Vikes, who don't know.
Yes.
How long
Three
have you guys
Blind
been doing
Vikes
that?
I do with my husband Dan, and then John, and we've been doing it since middle of the summer. We did one podcast in the summer months, and then two, and then we do it every week on Tuesdays. So it's been a blast.
And yeah, it's fun. And you guys usually do it what, like 8:45, 9?
8:45.
Okay.
8:45, because usually we're super busy, and I'm super busy most evenings because kids.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and you guys as kids.
John graciously stays out super, super late because he's in New York. And then we just end up talking about food for the last 25 minutes, and then it goes over an hour.
Yeah, well,
So
yeah, we were talking about drinks with Dave before we got started here. There's always, who doesn't like to eat and drink? But
I mean,
oh
if you can't talk about food,
right. Well, speaking of your kids have even been to the tailgate. You guys,
they have, and they keep asking to come back. And
they?
we keep considering it, and then we have to like clean the house and do boring things. But we brought our kids, and they had a blast. And we actually hung out. We didn't go inside. We hung out outside. We hung out at a different tailgate, who's like kitty corner behind you. And we just watched the game on their TV, and they fed us as well.
Yeah, I know you guys were talking about that. What tailgate is it? Is it still in my lot where?
Yes, it's literally right behind you.
Is it a white like bus kind of? Okay, what color?
It's closest to the wall, or not the wall. Sorry, the closest to the road.
Oh, is it like with the ambulance in the tent over there in the corner?
Behind, not it's not closer to the stadium, but closer to both the roads.
Oh, like this, they park in the row, like right in front of me, technically, or behind me.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I don't think they ever go in. Is it like a group of them?
It's a group of them, and I think they had said that one of the people always goes in, and then everyone else just hangs out outside because it's just just have fun together. And let me tell you, they handed out shots. They were handing out like, oh, here's some food. Here's this, please. And we're like, would it be okay? And they're like, we'd be mad if you didn't join us. And we're like, okay, cool. So they had kids there, and our kids enjoyed it too. So
it was fun. Okay, good. Because I haven't not went inside and watched the game at the car since. Well, last year for New Year's Eve, I didn't go in for the Packers game, but there wasn't anybody watching the game out there. The Chiefs game last year, I didn't go in. And I think those are the same people that were out there, but I'm not going in this Monday. I'm bringing my own TV, but if they got to set up like that, I might just have to might have to go over there.
They are very, very nice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good to know. But all right, I got caught up saying hey to people. I saw Nick Dobson was here. All right, Chris Thompson. Hey, Chris Thompson was at the tailgate last week. Okay, let's see. You guys, I'm so bad at this chat thing. Who was I talking to about this? Was it Rap the other day? I'm like, why am I so awkward when I'm doing the chat thing? Two-toned, hey. Oh, Too Evil. Hello, King. He said, just coming over from Gigi's stream. Well, we'd love to see you. Okay. Oh, Maddie, hi. Leland. All right, guys. Well, anyway, okay. So, do we have anything else that we need to say about the Falcons game? Is there anything else we want to wrap up on that? I don't want to miss
I
anything.
feel
We'll
like
put Sam down.
you should just have like a little podium, or not a podium, but like a little stand, and he can just like
I know.
stay right
I
behind you, and watch over you during the podcast.
want like shelves over here. So yeah, I know he needs more, and he's broken also now. So I don't know if we
Oh,
can see. We dropped him, but it didn't matter because he was fine.
yeah,
He got dropped 2
yeah.
weeks ago, and he's doing better than ever. So
Maybe he
we
just
were
needed a
worried.
little bit of
Yeah, yeah, he didn't even need anyone to come in for him for one play and throw a complete pass. He was all good.
good. I think
So,
it was a really good win. I was really happy that we beat Kirk Cousins. Not necessarily because I hate him. I don't hate him. We'll go back to the beginning with him, on my opinion. I wanted the Vikings to get Alex Smith and to do what the Chiefs did. So I wanted them to trade for Alex Smith and get a quarterback and then whatever. I did not want another bridge, anything to just even more band-aids. So I always had a little bit of like bitterness towards that when Kirk Cousins was on. So I was never a huge fan. I was never a hater, but never a huge fan. And every time he messed up, I'm just like, ah. But
uh-huh.
I was really happy that we beat Kirk Cousins purely for the fact that now, like, all of the, I guess, Kirk stands, for lack of a better word, can, like, be quiet.
Mhm.
And, like,
Yes.
I know that he's coming off of an injury, but it's like, let's just be done with it. He's gone. We don't have to be like, oh, Kirk of this, Kirk that. He's gone. He chose to go
Yeah.
with the Falcons, and we beat the Falcons, and he didn't look very good. So he's not on our team, and we should all be happy and glad. So that
Yeah,
was the
I
main
think
reason why I was glad we beat him. But
I think that's the main takeaway. When I was on with SK on Tuesday, similar journey for me, but it got, I don't know, it was emotional for me way more than I thought it was going to be when I was preparing for the show. And I was just like, you know what? We never have to fucking talk about this again. Here we are talking about it one more time, but this is the last time, you guys. We're just putting it to bed now. But it's like, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, it's over with. I feel validated in how I felt before, and I didn't want to be right, or I didn't want this to be the outcome. But this is how it happened. And it's like, at least now, like, we can all agree. And even, there's some that are never going to agree, but who cares? It's like, at least we can move on to arguing about something new. I wish that we didn't have to argue at all, but apparently we do.
it wouldn't be
Now
Vikings Twitter without arguments.
right, like now we're arguing about what's going to happen with Sam and JJ going forward, and all of that, which we can get into in a little bit. But it's just like, I'm just so glad we don't have to. I think at least with that discussion, and maybe it's because it's new, but there's a scope, like there's a spectrum of how you can feel about that. Whereas with the Kirk Cousins argument, at least for me, I felt like you could never feel anything but black or white on it. That's all people
Yeah.
would let you be. You couldn't just say like, oh, well, I like this about him, but I don't like this. And yeah, he's top 10, but he's not. You had to either believe he was elite or that he was trash. That's
Yep.
all that, on social media you could do. And so it was very frustrating. At least now with this new argument, you're allowed to have a little wiggle room on how you feel. So,
Yeah.
but all right, moving on. We talked about the defense gave up a lot of yards, but when it came down to it, they pulled it off. They got the turnover, and the week before, similarly, with Kyler, they gave up a lot of yards, but they kept them out of the end zone. So, are you concerned about this going forward into this week against the Bears and Caleb?
I'm not concerned necessarily defensively, because I think everyone always keeps talking about how our defense is like bend don't break. And so I think I truly believe that now. And I think when Pace gets back in, which I think he might not be ready until like the second to last week or the last week, maybe. So I think when we
Okay.
have all of our weapons in the spots that B-Flow designed the defense for, we're lights out and unstoppable. But I think when we have Pace out or Gilmore out, it's a lot more bend not break. Because like when Cashman was out, it was a struggle, and like
Mhm.
that's, I mean, every time he's played, we've won. So I mean, in my opinion, maybe he's the special link. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But I do think we're bend not break, and I think once we get into the red zone, it's a lot easier for us to like target
Mm-hmm.
and to be smothering rather than when we're just like moving on the field. So I think as long as Sam is being Sammy D, I think we'll be fine, because I think we'll just hold him to field goals or get an interception in the end zone or something like that. But I'm not too worried. I say that and they're going to blow us out on Monday.
No,
Because
no,
that's how the Vikings are. But
no.
like I said, I think they're more of a bend not break, and when they have all the weapons where they want them, then they're lights out rather than the other way. I'm not too worried.
Yeah. Leland, thank you so much for the super sticker. We appreciate you so much. Yeah, I'm with you. See, I was surprised. So they held Caleb that game. What God, was that only 3 weeks ago? It was only 3 weeks ago against the
Yeah,
Bears
I know.
last
It's so
time.
weird that we're
Crazy.
getting so close.
I know. I know. So I felt like they did a good job containing Caleb when they were in Chicago. So I was surprised the next week when they went once again Murray, how I just felt like he was all over the field. And I know when I looked at his yards afterwards, his rush yards, they really weren't that impressive, but I felt like he was just all over the place and they weren't doing a good job of containing him. Again, they kept him out of the end zone, so that was fine. But I feel similarly to you. I mean, as long as Blake Cashman is in there, they're going to win. That's the key to the victory, as you just said. But also, yes, they are a little bit banged up. I don't know. Van Ginkel is still on the injury report. I think, yeah, Gilmore's still not practicing. And somebody else. Who else was on the injury report today? Hold on, I have it right here. But I was impressed with who they've had come in. Even Jalen Redmond last week had like almost 40 snaps. Yeah. So
I did a feature on Jalen Redmond and
okay.
talked about him on the podcast on Tuesday. And ironically, I did Byron Murphy the week before, and he got his 6th interception on Sunday. So that was really exciting. But he's obviously having a career year because he played in the XFL and he was on practice squad and all that stuff. But the coolest thing about it was that he was talking about how the fact that like he is he wants to prove it to everyone that he is not just a like one-time star, and it's not like a one-time thing. He said he's going to keep stacking things up, and he's not a 1-week wonder. And so he's just going to take his opportunities and keep going. And it's like, I don't know, that was really cool. He sounds like super, super humble on all of his interviews. And he also has the highest PFF grade of anyone on our team with a 87.4. So.
Okay. All right. What year was he drafted? Refresh my memory. I can't remember.
So he ended up on the Panthers training camp roster in 2023. He played, and then he signed with the Arlington Renegades in the spring of 2024. And he played 4 games and got 4.5 sacks.
Oh my God.
And
wow.
So, yeah. And then he signed with the Vikings roster. He's had his first sack was against the Texans. And he's just like, whenever he's played, he's been okay, but he's behind some powerhouses. So I think it's the same thing that they talk about with Dallas Turner, and the fact that the people who are playing like technically in front of him are like going lights out. And so it's hard for them to take the people who are playing so well out and put Dallas Turner in, even though he's playing really well too. So, but I think Redmond is now showing that he can, because who's in front of him? Tillery. I think Tillery's the one that's in front of him. I could be wrong. I don't know. But yeah, I really liked his interviews that he did. And he's like, the roller coaster of just getting onto the team has just helped me through the roller coaster of how I'm playing from week to week, and I'm like, I love you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. I'll have to look into that stuff because I didn't know any of that. That's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Pat Jones who is also on the injury report, and he was obviously
Okay.
not around, not as available last week. So it was, yeah. But it's so cool though to see Flores's pieces who other people don't know about or didn't consider, who come in here and make an impact. It's so impressive.
Well, and like not only is it like just those pieces, but like he like chose everyone, right? So
Hmm.
like he chose Van Ginkel and he chose um like Cashman and all these people to come in, and they are, I think, okay, so let me try and put this into words because it's in my head as a concept. He does a really good job of finding people and then playing them to their strength. So he finds a weakness that he likes, and then he finds a singular player to fill that weakness. And they might not be the best player overall, but they're the best player for that weakness of the defense. And I think you really see it, his vision on how he does it when one of those players is out, because no one can like fully come in and like take over those people, their role. So I don't know. I just love B-Flow. I love defense, which is my segment on the podcast. So like anytime you want to talk about defense, I will just word vomit right at you.
Okay. All right. Well, who else? Who is your other? Who? What other standouts do you have this year? Like, who is your favorite player on defense?
I mean, Byron Murphy has started to capture everything, but like you can't, playing wise, Byron Murphy's had literally a career year. I featured him 2 weeks ago on our podcast, and he got drafted by Arizona. So when we played Arizona, it was like his revenge game. And it was like
Mm-hmm.
his game of like proving everyone that like you shouldn't have let me go. And he, like when I was looking at him, he, all of his stats were either at the same level, like his tackles and his sacks were either at the same when he finished his career with Arizona in this year. So like not
Oh,
last year and this year, but like this year, he was like almost at his stats, or he was at his interception. Um, okay, let me see if I can find the exact notes. But he was like insane. So it wasn't just that he was having a good year compared to previous years. This is like a career year for him. So
oh
like
yeah.
him coming in just was super cool, super awesome. So playing wise, but I think you have to love Metellus and Bynum,
Yeah.
and
Of course.
like their handshakes that they do, the fact that they're like really good players, really good people, like really cool people too. Cause like Bynum has his own like YouTube channel where he like
Yeah.
travels the world in the off season.
Yep.
So I just, those are my two favorite people, but like my favorite player right now is Murphy.
I don't know how Cam Bynum has the time or the energy to do all of the things that he does. I also have done, I've followed him on social media, for a couple years, but I've done deep dives on him, in the last few weeks with all of this stuff. And it's just like, this guy is, yeah, like you said, he's traveling everywhere. He's Filipino, so he's always, going into stuff like that. But I remember it was a few years ago. First of all, his music taste blows my mind because he's what? How much younger is he than me? Is he 24, 25? He's like 14 years younger than me or something, and he's listening to the music that I was listening to in middle school at the Skate
26.
America roller skating. I was roller skating to in middle school, and these are the songs he's using for like his touchdown dance, like the Usher music video. And I know that like one of his favorite, he loves Brian McKnight. And Brian McKnight was really popular when I was in middle school. And I'm like, dude, were you even born? And he plays the piano, and he's so like, he watches all of these movies, like obviously the ones that he's doing in the performances, but those movies, he was like a baby when those movies were out. So it's like he just is so cultured, not only for just
Yeah.
like American pop culture that was cool 15, 20 years ago, but what's going on around the world. I'm like, how does this guy have the time to be great at all of these things?
He's like the Energizer Bunny. Just never stops.
I know. Okay, well, guys, thank you so much for turning into Girls Night. If you do us a favor, give us a like and a subscribe here. We would really appreciate it. And I see a couple people chatting about what's going on in the game right now. Let us know because I don't have a TV in here. So give us a little update in the chat what we need to know. But yeah, Metellus and him, their relationship is so cool. Love getting to watch them, and I can't wait to see what they come up with next. I can't even begin to imagine or guess.
The bloopers are some of my favorite. Like when they post
Mhm.
them after they do their handshake, I love the bloopers. Like I think when they try to do that flip from the white girl or white chicks movie, I
Yeah,
think like Can't Bite Him almost landed on his face.
yeah, yeah. But then they're talking about how clean the flip was and all of that
Yeah,
on the sideline. Way, but you're like, because I
yeah, it
didn't
was.
consider how until I saw like one of the videos, maybe it was from yesterday, the day before that it came out. It's like they're gassed. They just made a play or a few plays in a row, and then they're running over here and doing this super athletic celebration, remembering the moves, executing them, and they're already out of breath. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
I think JB had said the Metellus interviews are really awesome. I am so happy they
oh
found someone to take over the 96 questions like
yeah.
segment, not obviously do 96 questions, but tell us with Metellus. I'm
Hmm.
so glad that they found someone to take that over, and I think he's excellent.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job with social media in general this year. But he is really good in that role. The Tell Us with Metellus is really funny because they had been
They're
missing that. It was cool when they brought B Rob back for it to do it for I don't know if he did it for the whole year, but he did it one
He did
year
a
after
few of
he
them.
was yeah, after he had retired. And that was cool, but I think now at this point, obviously, I'm sure he's got other stuff going on, and none of these guys played with B Rob other than Harrison Smith, who I see people talking about in the chat saying Hitman's still going strong too. Are you referring to right now, currently in this moment, or like this season? Because like I said, we don't have a TV, so let us know. Oh, never mind. He's not fucking playing right now. I'm an idiot. Why did I say
I was like,
that?
is he doing something? Is there
No,
something going
he's
on
not
with the
doing anything
Vikings?
right
But
now.
okay.
Why? You guys, it's been a long day. I'm sorry, I didn't really sleep. You know how it goes over here with me. Started saying dumb shit.
Tomorrow's Friday, so it's all good.
Tomorrow is Friday, which is kind of exciting. I don't know. I'm excited that the Vikings play on Monday for only the fact that there's so many games that I want to watch on Sunday that we're gonna
Yeah.
actually be able to watch.
I am going to be hate watching hardcore.
Yeah. Well, we've got Lions Bills,
Yes.
which is obviously the most important one for me at least. I really hope that the kitties I just hope Josh Allen eats them for lunch.
I
But yeah, there's
really want
quite a
them to lose.
I think they're
I'm on relatively active on Blue Sky, and I have gotten one troll or hater. I don't even know what you can call it, and it was a Lions fan,
on
and
Blue
they're like,
Sky.
"Yeah," and they blocked me. Like I was going back and forth with them, and they're like really mad because there was this picture about like the Lions as Tiger Woods, and then the Vikings as like this really quirky like golfer. I can't remember his name right now, but it was like the Lions with their best roster in like years, and the Vikings just making a go at it with Sam Darnold. And
Oh
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
getting really mad at me, and I was like, "That's literally you're missing the point of the joke." Like you don't understand what like I get it. This is a joke. We're blah 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 blah. And he just got mad at me and blocked me. But that's the only salty person I've come across on Blue Sky.
I haven't been on Blue Sky much the last couple weeks. I started out pretty strong, and then I haven't been on. And yesterday I had a really bad mental health day. I mean, I shouldn't say really bad. It wasn't, but it was just like I just had these trolls were just coming at me yesterday, and I let them. Usually, I don't even read it, but it got past my filters yesterday, and I read some of it, and it wasn't even that bad by comparison for the stuff that I got. But it was just got me really down, and these trolls were also getting to other people that we're friends with and that we care about, and it was just really weighing on me yesterday, and I didn't sleep very well because I was just letting these people I don't know. I really let them get to me. And I woke up this morning and I was like, I was so much happier those 2 weeks I was on Blue Sky.
Yeah. The vibes are so different over there.
It
And
was.
Like, you can put stuff out into the world and you're not going to get instant hate. Like, you'll get some honest feedback. Like, I had a discussion, we were talking about the Yankees with someone, or we were talking about Soto, and they had said something about, like, I can't believe that Juan Soto's getting like 700 and whatever $1 million when like Patrick Mahomes doesn't even make that money. Like, do they bring in the same amount? And I was like, respectfully, there's more games. Like, they're on
Right.
more of the time, and they probably bring in similar amounts of money. And then it was like a pleasant conversation with a random person on the internet. Like, it was back to like way back, like multiple years ago, Twitter, when you could have a normal conversation. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's what Blue Sky was reminding me of, and that's why I liked it, because you could have these conversations. And the thing that is great about communication in general, when you communicate with people who don't agree with you, is you learn things. But
yeah,
Twitter, that hasn't happened in so long because people can't have a conversation. And it's just off the bat, like, you're stupid, you're a whore, you're this, you're that.
I think that's
And
why
I
the
was,
Kirk Cousins stuff got
yes,
so polarizing.
yes, for
Is
sure.
because of
That had a lot to do with it. That had a lot to do with it. But I have not. Yeah, I need to make a more conscious effort to to stay over there a little bit, or not stay over there, but go back to where I was for those couple weeks, because it was a good time. But the Lions fans, they have just went a little crazy. I know we've all kind of noticed it, that they just got this attitude now. And I don't know. I don't know if they're the same fans that we have been on Twitter with, hanging out with for the last 10, 15 years, or if this is just like a new breed, the ones who are either young, like Gen Z, or they're just like new fans. I'm not sure. But they are brutal. I said it on here a few weeks ago that, like, the very first person who has ever been mean to me in the history of Donut Club, which is like 2018, somebody do math for me. For very first person who has ever, like, said vulgar, crazy shit to me was Lions fan. And then yesterday, I had some Lions fans in my mentions as well, calling me names, and I wasn't even talking about the fucking Lions. I wasn't even talking about the
it's so
Lions. I was talking about
exhausting.
Randy Moss. It's just like, what is happening with you people?
Yeah, it's they're I think it's that they're finally good, and like the Vikings have never been bad, right? So I think the whole NFC North is just like rooting for the Vikings to be miserable because we've never been bad. And so like we've never been awful. So I think it's just that the Lions are finally like, when you're finally good at something, you just want to like shove it in your face. But like they
Mm-hmm.
can't shove it in anyone's face because literally it's the Lions, the Vikings, and the Packers, and they're all the best three teams in the NFC, I feel like. Except for maybe the Eagles. But like I don't know.
Dan is here. So hi, Dan. Thank you for letting me borrow your wife. I really appreciate it. Leland says hold that ginger cup, and I didn't know if it was supposed to say up or not, so that's why we're just holding Sam. We're holding the ginger
I mean,
just in case.
I think it's fair to
Question.
always hold Sam Darnold up. Anytime someone says
Yeah.
ginger, just be like, hey.
Yes. Exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think I just choose to tell myself that it's just the Gen Zers who just say crazy shit, because I root for the Lions when I
Yeah.
can, because I want them to experience happiness that I one day hope to experience. So I have no ill will towards them whatsoever. So it's really weird how vicious they are. I don't
I
get
mean,
it.
I feel like we were rooting for them to like when they were what was it, 2 years ago when they were leading the division. I feel like we were rooting for them
Hmm.
to win the division, and or to maybe not win, but like win their games. And now it just feels icky to root for them.
Yeah, I mean, I still rooted for them against the Packers.
That's fair.
It's
Oh,
nowhere near that bad. But yeah,
yeah.
I'm not rooting for them against. I mean, obviously, it's again a different situation this year because they're only one game back, and the Vikings can still win the division. But in general, I just have no beef with them. So it's just really weird how they always want to like pop off. But I see two evils calling the loser incel casual Lions fans, and that are on the bandwagon. I agree with that. I think a lot of them are young, though. I really do, because I got to tell myself until I got in chodes, I didn't understand these Gen Zers at all. I'm like, what are these fucking memes? What is this? I don't get it. I think they just say whatever they want because there's never any consequences. Like when we were growing up, we couldn't say shit like this to people
Right.
because we would get our ass kicked. Whereas
Yeah.
people who grew up only communicating on the internet and say whatever they want, they first of all have significantly less empathy than we do in general. And whatever. This isn't a psychology show, I guess. But if you can't tell, the trolls are fucking wearing me down this week. So
That's
anyway,
fair.
let's talk about Monday Night Football. Let's talk about Monday Night Football.
Let's do it.
I'm always pissed off every year. It never seems to fail that I will go through the Vikings schedule and there's a fucking primetime game against the Bears on there somewhere. Why do you think this is, Cora? Why? Why is this?
I think. I mean, I feel okay. I feel like someone needs to look this up. Do we have more primetime games against the Bears or the Packers? Because I feel like we have more primetime games against the Bears, and I don't understand because our like divisional rival and divisional team that like we hate are the Packers. So I don't understand why it feels like we have more against the Bears. I don't know if maybe the Bears ones are more traumatic for us and that's why we remember them. So maybe we're remembering it wrong. But up until the last, I don't know, what, 2 or 3 years, they've been just the worst games ever.
I agree with you that it does feel that way. I don't know if that's the case, but yes, I do think somebody should look that up. I do agree that it feels that way, that they play the Bears in primetime more often. How it was explained to me, though, is that so for us, we hate the Packers more than anything, but apparently the Packers hate the Bears more than they hate the Vikings because they were more competitive back in the day with each other. So I think, I don't know. I don't know why it is, but yes, it's every fucking year and it's never a good game.
So who
And
hates the Vikings?
no, well, I don't think that either of them like the Vikings, but I don't think that they were like public enemy number one. Maybe that's changed since Favre. I would think that probably would maybe, and then also the Bears haven't been good now in so long. I mean, since they had Jay Cutler. Was that an NFC Championship game against the Packers and the Bears, or was that just a divisional round?
I
It
don't
was a
even
long
remember.
time ago. Somebody in the chat let me know, but it was Jay Cutler and he was on his exercise bike on the sidelines and not playing. And so was that the NFC Championship or divisional round? Somebody please tell me. But yeah, I don't understand. So I'm like, why? I looked this up and I sent this to you just because I was like, well, maybe I'll mention some of
Yeah.
these. For in the last 10 years, they have played on Monday Night Football 5 times, the Vikings and the Bears. They've also played on Sunday nights, but those are just the Monday nights 5 times. And these games are never good. Last year, it was the Josh Dobbs 4 interception game on Monday night, which was 12-10. Just a brutal game. Brutal. There was so much excitement going into that game because we were all still high on Dobbs mania. Many of us dressed up as astronauts, and it was so fun because it was a night game, and there was just so much excitement. And then it was just one of the shittiest games that I can remember seeing.
I just I feel like and I don't feel like it's been this way with any other team. Like the Lions, if the Lions are good, we win. If the Lions are bad, or sorry, if the Lions are good, we lose. If the Lions are bad, we win. It's the Bears. Like if the Bears
Yeah.
are good or bad, it's just such a like crapshoot on what team you get. And I think maybe it's because it's a divisional game. I don't
It's
know.
always it's never pretty. Okay, Nick Dobson said 2010 NFC Championship game, and that's what I was gonna guess because that's the last time. I mean, and what a fucked up 2010 NFC Championship game. That's so fucked up because the Vikings were supposed to run it back, and then those two were in the NFC Championship. Like, of course they were. But and then JB says weather update. It's raining fairly steadily in San Francisco right now. Could get sloppy as the game goes on. Oh shit! Oh, it's 7:50. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know. But the Vikings could clinch tonight. The Vikings could clinch the playoff spot tonight if the Rams
What
lose. So
The Rams have to lose. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, I
What
guess
is
we're cheering for the Niners.
your Yeah, we're cheering for the Niners. Who would you rather win the South, the NFC South? Because I know a lot of people, myself included, are fearing the Rams right now and do not want to play the Rams. So I
Um,
would,
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I'm not the NFC South or the West.
Oh, the West. So I
Okay.
think
I was
Seattle's
like,
still in
wait
it.
a second.
Arizona's
I
still in
mean,
it.
I don't. I'm not necessarily fearing the 49ers. I think
No.
honestly, I fear the Rams the most. But we haven't
Yes.
played the Seahawks, so I can't really tell. But I think like they
No.
just put up 40 points against the Bills. The Rams did.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like a shootout. And I love Sam Darnold, but is he going to have that in him for like a shootout like that? I don't know. So I think maybe the Rams I would fear the most. I
Yes.
don't know.
I don't. I don't want them to play the Rams. I mean, I don't know.
I
I
mean,
haven't
who's
watched
that? And
enough. Yeah, I mean, I reserve the right to change my mind after playing Seattle when they do next week, but I don't want them to play the Rams at all. So I also don't want them to go to Seattle though. I just hope it works out so they can play the Tampa Bay. Or
I
Atlanta if it
just
has
well,
to be.
I hope it works out that the Vikings beat that the Lions lose and the Vikings win out because then we'll have the number one seed.
Yeah, then we don't got to worry about it.
So wait, would we have the
We
number
don't
one
have.
seed or would the Eagles have the number one seed? I don't know how those
Um,
tiebreakers.
it's so fluid. I don't know, but at least then we would be in the conversation for the number one seed, and you wouldn't
Yes,
have to go to Philadelphia if it was a 1 and 2 seed situation. So that's what's
you
most
know.
important. It's not going to
Or if
Seattle
we go to Philadelphia, maybe we would win.
or sorry,
We would
Philadelphia. I
have a
mean,
blowout game there,
in
and
Philadelphia.
we could like feel vindicated,
Oh
but with
God, yeah.
because of Pace.
I mean, that would be cool, but that gives me a lot of anxiety. So I don't know.
That's fair.
But all right,
That's
let's see. What other ones did I see? Okay, in 2021. Well, that was a pretty boring. That was the Vikings won Monday Night Football in 2021, but in 2018, that was a very brutal one. That was a Sunday night game actually, but the Bears eliminated the playoffs on December 30th of 2018,
I was
beating the
at that
Vikings.
game.
Were you? How was
Yes.
that?
Miserable. I
Yeah, I got.
remember my best friend got tickets for me for Christmas and she bought them when they were dirt cheap. And
Mhm.
her boyfriend was like, we could sell these tickets and literally pay for all of our tickets and then buy like 3 or 4 tickets because they were pretty decent tickets. And he's like, we could, because of how hyped the game was. And I was like, well, thanks for keeping them. But that was
Yeah.
miserable. It was
Yeah.
like every time, like I felt like the fans were in it, but I just didn't feel like the team was in it.
No. And that was the thing with the whole 2018 season was the good Kirk Cousins comes in here and it's supposed to be, we were in the NFC Championship year before, and then they can't even beat the fucking Bears to get into the playoffs. They
Yeah,
get a
to
limit.
get to the playoffs.
Yes, just to get into the playoffs. It gets flexed. We're at home, right? That was it. Obviously, yeah, at home.
Yeah.
And then that's a performance. So that's a brutal performance. And then let's see. The year before that, 2017, Monday Night Football. This was October 9th, Monday Night Football. This is Mitch Trubisky's first ever game. And Sam Bradford started the game. Remember, Mike Zimmer he hated Case Keenum so much that even though Sam Bradford's got one leg pretty much, he puts him out there to start the game. Sam Bradford in the first half has 5 complete passes, 5 out of 11 for 36 yards. And in that time, he was sacked 4 times. He almost died. He almost left with no legs. But the Vikings did end up winning that game. But just an ugly, ugly, ugly game. All of these games were ugly.
Well, even the last game we had, just right at the end, I just don't think you can have a clean game against the Bears. I think it has to be just an ugly game.
Yes. Hey, Skull Mafia. Yeah, I think so. Well, what I want to get to though is I think that this game has the potential to be different though, and hopefully break that narrative.
I hope so. I really do. Like
I
I
feel
think I
good.
texted you. In my Vikings heart, I'm like, this is just going to be a shit show. This is going to be a disaster. Like, loss. And in my brain, I'm like, I don't know why I feel that way, other than the PTSD that being a Vikings fan gives you. Um, but in my brain, I want to say it's going to just be a blowout because they're awful. They're really bad. But in my
Mhm.
heart, I'm like, but it's the Vikings.
I'm normally so with you, and it's like I feel like I mean, for sure, ever since I've been on Vikings First in school, every single show, I'm like, well, usually I would be like that. But seriously, I normally would be like that. I usually have the PTSD I'm carrying around, I have the superstitions, the same old, like, oh, the Vikings can't beat a backup quarterback thing that I have, or, these are always going to be sloppy games. Like the things that always happen to the Vikings that you wouldn't expect if you hadn't grown up a Vikings fan your whole life. You'd be like, that doesn't make sense. And it's like, no, I've done the research. It actually does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But for some reason, this season, I think it's just because it's such an unexpected, not only unexpected record and performance, but the whole Sam Darnold piece, and that they're winning games convincingly, not in the 2022 style of getting lucky and flukes and making things happen over like a different way every single week. This team is just convincingly winning, and even if they play
Yeah.
shitty middle of the game, they're finding a way to win that is convincing and not just a coincidence. So for some reason, I don't have those like creepy, crawly, cringe feelings going into this game. Like I can't be excited for it. Am I crazy?
See, and I think my thought or my when I say that, because I have my little sheet of paper, and on my paper it has the record that I wrote down at the beginning of the year, and I have us winning this one. But I think it's just like I have to say, oh, but it's probably going to be this way, because if I don't say it, then
Yeah.
it's going to be that way. So like my superstition, if I don't say, oh, it's probably just going to be a mess, it's going to be a mess
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
of Vikings.
It for sure, of course, could be that way. I don't know, something, I guess, we've only had one other primetime game this year, right? The Rams game on Thursday.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had any other. Oh, no, got flexed. Sorry, the Colts game got flexed. How could I forget?
Oh,
Just being,
yeah. That was such a
which was,
weird game to be flexed.
yeah, it was weird, and it wasn't a pretty game either. I don't know, maybe I'm just, I obviously, I think last week, I'm
Let's
still
go, Dan.
intoxicated. I'm very intoxicated from last week, so that's obviously I think weighing into it as well. But I just feel like they can play as good as they played on Sunday. Who cares about the Bears? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just how I feel about it.
Well, and I feel like like when it was like 2017 and we were winning with Case, it was more of, wow, man, look at Case go. I didn't know he had him in him. Oh my goodness, like when's another shoe gonna fall? When's this? When's that? And so
Yes.
I think I like compare it more to that year as being a pleasant surprise. But with this year, I feel like with Case, it was Case Keenum was also surprised at how well it was going, and also
Right.
surprised at like, wow, this is really working. But with Sam, it feels more like he is like, F yeah, like I told you that I'm good.
Right.
I told you all this stuff, and like it's more of like him proving it to people rather than like, heck, wow, look at how it's going. So I feel like it's a
Yes.
different vibe. And while I'm quote unquote waiting for the other shoe to drop, the farther we get into the season, the less likely I feel like the shoe's going to drop, because it's
Right.
not those surprise wins like you were saying. It's the convincing wins, and it's like the defense winning, or it's Sam winning for them, or Sam keeping them in games, or Sam winning, and it's not that the defense held them. Maybe there's like a few games where the defense won, but it's like Sam proving that he is a first round draft pick.
I agree. That is something that's really different about it. And in 2017, there were games that they lost. The one that's coming to mind right now, I know that there's more than one. It was a Lions game in October that was at home, and Dalvin tore his ACL that game. And they just were playing shitty. They had opportunity after opportunity to score and to win the game, and they didn't. And not winning that game cost them home field advantage in the playoffs. Obviously, it was in October, so it wasn't like the deciding factor. But that's just an example of a game that I'm thinking of where they had opportunities to win and the offense couldn't step up and do it. And then 2009, I'm reminded of this because when I went through my recent history, 2009, the Vikings lost with Brett Favre on Monday Night Football, a game that they could have won. They lost at the last second. They could have won. That cost them home field throughout in the playoffs as well. This team so far, the 2 games that they have lost came down to the end, especially the Lions game. These were not games where they got their asses kicked or where they didn't look like they belong there. So I just feel like they're consistent, even those games that were lull. I don't know. Am I nuts?
Well,
I feel like I am nuts.
I feel like even with the coaching part of it, I feel like they're not afraid to lose. We're like, when Zimmer was the coach, it was like, oh shit, we can't lose. So like, they felt a little bit more stressed or a little bit like not high intensity, but higher anxiety with it. And so like that's when like the NFC Championship game just like tumbled away and out of their hands. I feel like with KOC, he is not like stressing them out if they lose. Like, perfect example. When Aaron Jones fumbled the football, did he like pull him off the field and scream and holler at him? No, he literally gave him the ball like the next play he was in. And so he's not saying that like he's just helping his players feel more confident on the field. And yes, they're all adults. I get that. But he's being a really good coach. And so they're not like failing or afraid to fail. And when you're afraid to fail, you make those mistakes. But when you're not afraid to fail and you make the mistakes, they don't affect you. So I feel like the coaching is helping as well as, they're just playing really well. And I think it's honestly, I give a huge shout out to KOC and B-Flow because I feel like they are really helping develop the people and players to like have fun. And what is the best way to win games? By having fun.
That is the difference. And even to see Sam go to Aaron Jones in the end zone after he had a tough game, he had the confidence in him to give him the ball in that moment to win the game. That just shows like how everyone feels about each other, the confidence that they have in each other, that their coach has in them. It's just a completely different feeling over there. I don't know. But Dan said 2009 is recent history, and I understand, Dan, it doesn't seem like it, but you're a new fan, as you just said. So when you have PTSD, maybe look it up. Things can be 20 years ago, and
Dan
they feel
was
just
a
like
Cowboys fan in 2009, so
oh well, then you should remember 2009. What was that score? 34-3 or something in the divisional round against the Cowboys. Okay, but that's how PTSD works, Dan. I know you wouldn't understand that, being a Yankees fan and stuff. But okay, well let's get out of here because we've been on here for an hour, believe it or not, and we need to we need to watch the game and everything. But I need to ask because we just got to talk about it because we have to get everyone's opinion on record about this because it's going to be something we're going to argue about all off season. Right now, what would you do in the Sam Darnold, if you're Kwesi right now, what would your decision be at the quarterback situation?
It would preface a couple things. So I've been thinking about this question a lot. It would preface a couple things. First, does Sam want to come back? Because if he doesn't want to come back, I think it's a moot point. he goes and gets a super great contract. I think he would be really good on the Rams, even though I know Stafford has one more year left. I think that's the best system for him that most mimics the Vikings. Similar coaching style, similar weapons, that kind of thing. So I think he would succeed the most on the Rams. So if Sam doesn't want to come back and he wants to chase a big contract, let him go. If we bring him back when he doesn't want to come back, I think it could not wreck the locker room, but it could be a point of contention because the Vikings are in a really good place right now where they're basically like a place that if you want to come and like revamp your career, you can come. And if we start franchise tagging people when they don't want to be franchise tagged or keep bringing them in when they don't want to stay, then I think it's going to be a difficult situation with other players who maybe didn't want to stay, or it might not be an option for them to come. I don't know. Honestly, I think if Sam wants to go, let him go. If he wants to stay, keep him for one more year because I want to ride with JJ McCarthy. I want to see that kid ball and I want to see him go. So keep him for one more year and then either trade him for draft capital midway through the year or let him go at the end of the second year. It continges on the fact that if he wants to stay. If he doesn't, we have to let him go. But if he wants to, I would keep him for another year. But I want JJ. Okay. I want to see how he does.
Okay. Just had to clarify to get everybody on the record. I don't know. My opinion on that is fluid. It's changing. It's changed a lot this week. Before this week, I was just like, I wasn't even open to the possibility because I just didn't even think it was feasible. I didn't think it made sense for either side for Sam to stay. So I just wasn't even letting myself go there. But like I said, I'm still intoxicated from this win over Kirk Cousins and the Falcons on Sunday. So now the wheels are spinning over here and now I'm getting emotionally attached. So
well, and part of me would be really intrigued and just like icing on the cake if Sam Darnold left, had a really great career somewhere else, and then we got Daniel Jones and he started for us next year and he also turned around and he also became his true potential. I would be even more excited for JJ because then it's a quarterback that they actually picked. So I don't even think that even if like Sam does okay and Daniel Jones does okay, I would be that much more excited for JJ because it's someone that they handpicked. So I'm just full on our rookie QB.
All right. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but okay. So I'm assuming are you predicting a win for Monday night?
Yes.
Yes.
I can't remember what the score was that I predicted, but I think it was like 28-21 or something like that. So kind of close. But and more so similar to how the previous game was where they score more points towards the end, but we like shut them out the first three quarters and then they start to make a comeback towards the end, but we've scored so many that they can't. That's how I feel the game's going to go.
Okay. Yeah. I think they're going to win also. I would say like 7-10. I don't think it's going to be that close. I don't know. I'm getting cocky, but it's the winter whiteout and all of that stuff too. You know, we're going to have the snow falling and the fancy white jerseys and the white. And
I forgot about that. Yeah. That's going to be really fresh.
Yeah, it should be cool. And I don't know. The Bears are the Bears, you know? But okay, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys follow Cora on, you got your Twitter handle there, but no, that's not your Twitter handle, is it?
That is my Twitter handle.
Oh,
that's Blue Sky. Blue Sky is Legend of Cora. My name is Legend of Cora.
Okay, I feel like I just supposed to. Okay, anyway, Blue Sky, Twitter, and then tell them where to find your podcast and when it's on again.
We are on every Tuesday night on YouTube. We go live and at 8:45 Central Time. Usually it's an hour because we always end up we like finish our Viking stuff and there's like 25 minutes left and then we talk about food.
Yeah.
I see we have a Bears troll has entered the chat, and I probably shouldn't give you any attention because that's what you want. But I just want to let you know that Sam Darnold on his fourth team at 27 years old, that doesn't mean anything. Caleb is probably going to be. He's probably going to be playing when he's 27 years old because there's no offensive line over there or anybody who cares about protecting him. So have a great night, Chris. But anyway, thank you guys, everyone, for tuning in. Please like, subscribe. Go Vikings. Let's get this Monday night win. And let's hope the Lions get their asses kicked on Sunday.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Cora.
Like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And rate us on your favorite aggregator. And a big shout out goes to Sal and her guests on this Vikings First and SKOL production, partnered with the Fans First Sports Network. Thanks, everyone, and SKOL.